What's happening, everybody? We are back in the TCA studio in beautiful Bytown, Canada, for the first time in a couple weeks. The work around the studio is complete. We have been allowed back in. Nice to be home, but no good deed goes, well, unpunished. Supposed to be a brand new edition of the show today with our man Steve Bunda. Had lots planned with him, certainly the day after the Stanley Cup final ended. We could have given some final thoughts on that and a couple other little things we had on the agenda here. But he had something come up on him at the last possible second that stopped him from getting here. So we're not doing that. And while I was gone, you all know I already did a couple of episodes that were just me. And I figure you've probably heard enough from just me for a little while. So what's going to happen here today is I'm going to drop a little piece of pre-recorded audio for you that Rob and I threw down before I left the studio. Didn't end up needing while I was gone, but it's as relevant now as it was then. It was always meant to be, not particularly time sensitive, so we could drop it in whenever we need it, and we need it now. So that's what we're going to give you here today. We are going to try again to reconnect with Bunda on Thursday. If we're able to do that, we will drop it for you right away instead of waiting for Friday morning. If not, I may do something solo, and then, well, it's up to you whether you want to take that in again or not. Or maybe we'll just wait for Rob to return to the studio on Monday morning. Couple things still up in the air as we get our feet underneath us here back in the nation's capital. So we apologize for that. We're not going to talk about the Cup final today, but we will certainly get to it. We're already seeing some trades now in the NHL, some more signings in the PWHL. God bless Rebecca Leslie, who has agreed to sign with the Ottawa Charge. They were the last team in the league to get anything done. They have agreed to terms to keep her right here in the nation's capital. Probably doesn't hurt that she's a local, but we won't nitpick right now. We'll take whatever we can get. So, like I said, we will get to it in due time. But for now, here's this. Do I suck or does this guy suck?
This is Tall Can Audio.
Okay, away we go on a brand new edition of the Tall Can Audio podcast. Matt Robinson, Rob Christie in the now closed TCA studio, but we're doing some time travel stuff here. Time travel.
See, it's working already.
Don't read into anything too much on how that might work.
Yeah.
We're on social media at Tall Can Audio. Subscribe whoever hearing us right now. What's happening, man? You don't know.
Sound like
it could be several days in the future.
Exactly.
I could be great. I
feel I'm
a bullion type.
Yes,
I'm told
effervescent.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
Matt's come through the time traveling experience, and his ass is in the front of his pants now.
Sweet.
It's always disconcerting a little bit. Who told? Why didn't anybody tell me my ass was this big?
How'd this potato get here?
Yes.
Yeah. What are you doing here, man? How did you get here today?
I've asked myself that probably half as many times as you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What is you doing here?
Yeah.
I am taking down something I'm hoping to be crisp like that. This is the Italian Pilsner from Anderson Brewing out of...
I don't like an Italian Pilsner.
Out of London.
Okay.
Well, and sometimes the Italian...
They don't like you.
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah. Sometimes it has a little bit more... The Italian has a little bit more yeasty flavor to it than
this is sort of, to me, always like the IPA talk, where like the West Coast has that kind of crisp or a little bite or a little something, whereas the East is more of the New England, the Northeast, has a juicier, hazier. I find the Italian has a little less bite to it or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this to me is
living up to
right on track with that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the bubbly crispness that you would hope from in a Pilsner. In a Czech Pilsner.
Right.
Yeah. So to me it is, but it's smooth.
Sure.
I would like a little bit more. I am looking for a little bit more of the bubbliness that I'm not getting here, but 5%.
From my co-host.
Yeah. The ebullience.
I'm not
That's
being anywhere near bubbly enough over here.
what- yeah. Well, that's people don't go to you for that.
Expectations are what they are.
Are out of whack. If you're going to Matt looking for that,
That's right.
you probably need to look elsewhere.
I have looked back to the Need a Beer Company, and this time, I think the last time you heard Rob and I speak together, we were both enjoying the beautiful Bytown Black IPA, available now at Need a Beer Company.
It is enjoying too.
Yeah, 190 Colonnade Road or at needabeer.com. That's not an everyday beer.
That's a festive good times.
For sure it is. So today, I'm just riding with the Need a Light, which we've talked about before. To me, a nice full-bodied beer for a light
It is.
beer.
Yeah.
Still has that, I don't know, kind of lagerish
Yep,
flavor
for
to
sure
it.
it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a fuller body than what you would normally expect out of a light beer. So
Doesn't finish like dishwater.
no, and
It finishes strong for a light beer. That is excellent.
yeah, we referenced the other day being over at the Need a Beer Company for the unveiling of the beautiful Bytown Black IPA, and this was my resting station. Right, this was my okay. You just had one of those 10%. Pump the brakes here a little.
Hit the 4%.
Yeah, have the Need a Light, and then you can circle back and get it. And honestly, held to it pretty well. Not perfectly, but held to it pretty well. And this did leave me in good stead. Again,
Need a
as well
light.
as it could have done. Yes.
Right. Need a light. Need a life. Need a ride. Need a lot of things.
Yeah. Need another beer.
Need another beer.
If you're interested, like I said, in that beautiful Bytown Black IPA, the Tall Can Audio 10th Anniversary Beer, 190 Colonnade Road or needabeer.com. To get to that particular shindig, Rob,
Yes.
I called myself an Uber, and it said it was 4 minutes away.
Yes.
But 11 minutes later, it said it had arrived, but there was no sign of
He's at the back door.
a vehicle. That would have been great. But no. It said, like I said, 60 meters away. I'm like, what's happening? Why have you stopped somewhere? That is normally the problem here at this condo building, is they've just gone to the back door. And so I called the guy. He said, are you not at such and such? I said, no, I'm here at such and such. He goes, that's not what it says here. Where I'm supposed to go. And I said, okay, well, I'm telling you where to go. Can we make that happen? He's like, well, I don't really know. I said, well, are you far? And I'm trying to look at the app, and he's like, yeah. And as I'm scrolling through, and I said, all right, well, I guess we'll have to cancel. I'm in the moment, I'm thinking it's me. And hang up. I'm like, it says he's 60 meters away.
Yeah.
You're not far. You're a douche trying to get paid for a canceled ride. So I try to call him back. Like, hey, it's 60 meters. Let's figure this out. Because you're close and the next guy is not going to be. No answer. Call back. No answer. And then he cancels on me, and now I'm dinged with the
$5 or whatever it is.
the full thing. It's actually turned out I got billed more for the canceled ride than I did from the next guy who showed up and had no trouble finding the place. I paid more for the canceled ride than I did for that guy to actually do his job and do his job sounds so judgmental. But he showed up, did what he was asked to do on the app, took me. That was cheaper. So I'm kind of like, I'm going to 1-star this fucker into the ground, right? This
Yes.
can't do it. When they cancel on you, it's because you're a douche. You don't get to review them. Like, it's 60 meters.
Yeah. Oh, I'm reaching out. I'm reaching out through the app if I'm you.
Looking for some support,
Yeah.
looking for a refund. So that hasn't yet played out. I have reached out. I don't know how that's going to play. But I'm sort of like,
Okay, but you've taken
what is
200 Ubers in the last 10 years. Does that seem right?
over 490.
Okay.
This is where we're going. I'm like, do I suck or does this guy suck?
That guy
Maybe we
sucks.
both suck. I'm willing to entertain the idea that Matt sucks. Like, I've
Yeah.
heard it enough that I'm willing to entertain that. So I'm like, how do you? I was doing some Googling on like how do you find your own rider rating or whatever, and it turns out now you've always been able to find your rating, but you can now also see it by breakdown. And so this is what I wanted to talk to you about today, Mom. My overall rating is a 4.89 rider, which is apparently, as far as they're concerned, like just on the edge of tolerable. Like if you're under 4.7, people wave you off like, I don't want to pick that guy up.
Wow.
Yeah.
But 4.89 over 490 rides?
Yep. I seem like a good guy, man. I'm a friendly guy. I'm not a friendly
You're
guy.
not.
I'm not a friendly, but I'm a nice guy-ish.
Quiet
guy.
Yep.
I'd like you to be a quiet guy too, driver, if you're...
Yeah, exactly. I thought you would me particular. You'd like me to be quiet.
I've given up on that.
Well, I wouldn't be here. You would have somebody else co-hosting this.
So I dive into it. You can now see your exact breakdown. Not driver by driver, this guy is giving you this, but you can see how many... 5 stars,
4 stars.
So 5-star ratings for Matt. And if 490 odd rides, you want to take a stab at how many 5-star ratings I got?
400.
451. I'm a good passenger.
See, I'm a 4.92.
Fucking asshole. You are a more friendly guy. You will talk a little bit.
I am chatty.
Yeah. I have 15 4-star ratings, 11 3-star ratings, 2 2-star ratings, and 3 1-star ratings.
Really?
There's something about, like...
You want to know who...
A little bit.
What
a
ride
little
is
bit.
that?
Yeah, I've done almost 500 of these. What 3 were so... Is it weird, though, that I'm like, who gives a 2-star rating? Like, what do you have to do to get a 2-star rating? Like, I get it. If somebody's barfing in your back seat and whatever, you get 1-starred. What do you go, well, he was polite about it? Or
Yeah.
to get a 2-star. Now, I should say, I have never barfed in any Uber driver's car. I've never asked anybody to pull over so I could do so or so I could whiz. I'm obviously getting dinged for not being talkative enough, or I don't know. I don't know when these things check in terms of tipping, right? Like, I often won't tip till the next morning. Like, if I get home late from a night out and I wake up in the morning and I've got that notification that says, thanks for whatever, would you review so-and-so, that's when I'll tip. So have they already been able to give me a review? I don't know exactly how that works.
I don't always tip. Do you always tip?
Unless it's been really bad. Like, 98% of the time I'll tip, yeah. Like, it would have to be a real, like, the guy from Saturday. I don't want to tip that guy. And you have like a default tip.
I got a tip for you.
Yeah, exactly. Is it weird that, like, is it, to me, it's the 2-star thing. Like, obviously somebody didn't like me. The 3 1-stars, like, I don't know, whatever. I don't get it. There's obviously something, though. The 2, I don't know what I would have to do to give someone 2 stars. They're 4 stars, or they're 1 star, or they're 5-star. 2 stars. Well, he had nice shoes, or like, I don't know what leads you there, man.
Well, and to me, yeah, you're right. It is odd. You either go right to the bottom, like the gray areas are in between. You're a 5-star, you're a 1-star.
Yes.
You're like, I don't even know why you give a 4-star. You're like,
yeah.
He was like, to me, it is you are an all or nothing in this rating. Like, to me, I don't know what the
4-star is sort of like to me, you were rude or you were a little late or something, but like, I don't want to kill you over it. It's just a whatever. But 3 and 2, I've never given any driver a 3 or a 2-star. Like, those are weird, but apparently there are people out there giving it to me.
Well, but there's so many people you go, this is a 5-star driver, and you're like, is that because everyone's just giving you a 5? Like, it's really this. And I remember early on, so I am way less. I'm probably in the 150 rides, probably. I don't do it as much as you.
Yeah.
But in the early days,
I checked. My first trip was to see the Hip in Ottawa at Blues Fest in 2015. It was my first Uber ride. A friend of ours went down with me, and we went to the Royal Oak on close to.
Yeah, you were at the Heart and Crown,
That's
actually, on Preston.
That's right. We were. And
I know where you were. Better than you do.
Which is weird.
Yeah, it's okay.
Get this fucking AirTag off me. Yeah, no, it's so it's been 10 years, 490 odd.
So
rides.
my first one was in Toronto after you and I went to the Jays game.
Yeah, okay.
And we took one down to the Elephant Castle.
Yes, to meet up with your brother.
Yeah, exactly. So there
better
was
brother.
very early. Yeah, they all are really. And I have a dozen of them now.
Oh, I wasn't even factoring you in. I was just picking between the
keep
brothers.
finding. Like, I had another brother, man. It is early on. Maybe I was under sort of 20 or 30 rides. You and I went with all of your family to that Leaf game, and we showed up at the St. Louis Bar and Grill, and you and I closed the place.
Yeah.
On the 28-ounce
Guinnesses.
Guinness, and you're like, wow. I had a problem with, locating that guy,
Yes.
and he had a problem locating me.
Yeah.
And then I promptly passed out in the back. Like nothing else.
No,
nothing
I'm with you.
But there was sleeping happening.
Yeah.
I sleeping, pass out. I don't know, whichever you want to go with. But it was winter. I got into the back of a warm SUV, and
Yes.
it's 2:00 in the morning. Guess you know what?
Sens coming off a big win.
6-1 win.
Yeah.
And anyways,
That same night you're talking about in Toronto, I took an Uber back from downtown out to Mississauga.
Yeah.
And this was in the day where, like, drivers were trying to differentiate themselves. The guy offered me, like, he had a
bottle
cooler
of
full of
water?
water and a phone charger and people were doing that kind of, like, what's your favorite type of
Tubes,
music?
yes.
Well, yeah. Now they're all just like, get the fuck in. I'm going to 2-star.
And get out. Well, and where I was going was that guy that night that I passed out in the back of his, he sewered me on a rating. But I'm like,
All I did was sleep.
well, and again, with only 15 rides or whatever at that point,
It's a big chunk of
you
your
get
rating.
a one.
Yes.
You get a 1 rating.
Yes.
And your
You're
rate,
down to like 3.8.
this is it. Your rating has gone woof, right
Yeah.
through the floor. So
To me,
that guy.
I can't say I was shocked. Like, out of 490 odd rides to have 3 1-stars. I'm curious, obviously. For whatever reason, it's the 2 stars that are jumping out to me. Like,
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it is.
That's weird. And there were
I'd
2
rather
of them.
just have the 5 1-stars and
Yeah.
no 2 stars.
Yeah, it's not like it's bumping you up. Although
Not
you,
at all.
you may be closer to me
Yep.
if you had those both as 2 stars.
If I was willing to talk to people about their
Where they came
Origins
from.
and-
Yeah, I'm always interested in accents, and people are very willing to open up about themselves.
how many drinks have I had, and that'll tell you how interested I am in hearing your story.
Yeah. Well, but the thing
If
is,
I'm sober, just leave me alone.
there is nothing more interesting to people than their own name.
Yes.
And their
Tell me more about you.
you.
Yes.
And people love that.
Yeah. I've taken a couple of Ubers back in from Almont, which is like a 40-minute trip. And I did make nice with those people because it's a long drive. And frankly, both those stories are pretty interesting. So,
Well, and I think I told you, it was maybe just a couple of weeks ago, leaving here
Yeah.
on a Sunday, going back out, and I hop in, and the music sounded like it was like Bollywood music. Mm-hmm. And so everybody understands, I think, what that sounds like.
sure.
And I'm like, what you got going on here? It sounds like, it's got a little Bollywood feel to it. And he immediately snapped off the radio. And I'm like, no. It's totally good, whatever.
Yeah.
But he thought I was...
Judging or
Yes, and I'm like-
unimpressed or...
And he's like, I don't know Bollywood. He goes, what are you talking about, Bollywood? And I'm like, I don't know. I said,
I don't know either.
well, this is it. I said, but I don't know what this is. Is it Urdu? Is it Hindi? Like, I don't know what I'm listening,
Sure.
but it's sound. I can't differentiate between them. And so, anyways, we started talking about, and it turns out he's from northern India, but he's been living in Canada. And so I said to him, I'm like, okay, listen, I love Indian food. Where do you go as somebody from India living here in Ottawa now? Where do you go? And so turns out he's like, I don't really like the spicy
My
food.
aunt's place. Oh.
And he's like, I don't know. I like to, sort of keep it on.
This is why I'm here and not there.
So then I'm like, so we start talking about it, and I'm like, so I know there's a couple of cricket leagues that they've tried to start up in Ottawa, right? And they're having a hard time finding. He's like, I don't watch the cricket so much. And I'm like, okay, I totally get
Yes.
why you're here.
It's like speaking to a Canadian in Britain. Like,
Yeah. I hate snow.
I don't like hockey. I don't like maple syrup.
Yes, this is it.
Like, I'm out.
and you're like, so, okay, I get it. I understand now why you're here in Canada. I hate the spicy food. I hate cricket. And you're like, all right. Anyways, those are the kinds of things.
Yeah.
Anyways, that guy was high-fiving me on the way to the car.
Well, this is it. I need to be more.
Gregarious.
It's going to be painful to say. More like Rob.
Yeah. What would Rob do in this situation? Matt needs to ask himself that more.
I ask myself it a lot. often go
do
in
the
other
opposite
direction.
Yes,
That's it.
and there's a lot of merit to that as well.
Yeah, but I often ask the question. We have seen here in the last week or so, Amazon Prime has unveiled. They are doing a season 2 of, I think they just called it Faceoff, didn't they?
Face-Off.
Inside the NHL, behind the NHL, beyond the NHL.
No, it's Face-Off. I don't know. I always want to say Road to the NHL, but it's season opener, right? It's like,
yeah, in October we did this. Last year it had Swayman, Nylander, the Tkachuk brothers.
Pasternak
was a big part of it. And it was sort of I think it was 8.
It had Matthew Tkachuk that sort of
Brady was
had a little
around.
Brady in it.
Yeah,
as
and
was
some Keith in it. There's
as
always
was
a lot
some
of
Big
Keith.
Wall,
Yeah.
grinning, barbecuing.
And honestly, I think we talked about it at the time. I enjoyed it. I thought, for the most part, it was pretty good. It was done up in episodes. Some of them here and there would intermingle with each other.
Yeah, like the Pasternak, William Nylander were the same episode. So 2 different guys, but
Good buddies, but facing off.
True, and it had that sort of in and out. It was sort of woven in and out, the 2 stories of them back to their Swedish Elite League days, and then them playing each other. Like it had a sort of in and out kind of.
Comparatively speaking to the early days, to the old Road to the Winter Classic and some of the other, I guess we did the Leafs Amazon one. It has its own name. It's a series, but everybody remembers the 2021.
There was crying.
There was, and then the people who weren't watching it and were actually a part of it. I cried a little.
Also crying.
Yeah. So, comparatively speaking, do you remember off the top of your head? Did you enjoy that one? Were you hoping for a season 2?
I was hoping for a season 2, not so much because I loved it, but I think because Amazon came in late.
Yes.
Last season in the 2023-24
it was like
season.
The last 2 months of the season and the playoffs.
To me, it was kind of an abbreviated. You didn't get the full season spectrum of stuff. You had sort of the last quarter of the season into the playoffs.
Right.
So I was more interested, if they were going to do it, if they could film this in a more fulsome way where you had a full season.
And I don't actually know that we're getting that. For all I know, they're doing the home stretch again. Four Nations is built into it for sure.
There's so many storylines that I would hope, like, you don't need to go into everything, but you do have season's expectations.
Yes.
The ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of a season. And
pick any, like Marc-Andre Fleury is one of the guys here. It's his retirement season. We should see that from camp on through, right? Like that's one of those stories you would want to.
And you had him showing up at the end of the season in Pittsburgh and starting and winning.
Yep.
And it was like it was a shootout, right? Like it was like a 6-5 or an 8-7 game, something like that. But he gets to come back in, and because you have Crosby as well as one of the guys.
Yeah.
So I was interested in reading through 14 guys.
14. They have stepped this up. They haven't said yet whether that's going to mean more episode. I hope it does. Like, I don't want to try and cram more stories into the same 8 episodes.
See, and I didn't like the episodes that had more than 2. Like, there was the one that had
all the captains.
Yes. That to me, it was 3 guys. It started to get too much. It started to muddy the storylines.
So, we don't have to ring through them all here, but yeah, Crosby is one. They're bringing back William Nylander and Matthew Tkachuk. Marc-Andre Fleury is a part of this. I think I already said Crosby. McDavid
is not in.
Okay. He was in last year's.
Yeah. To me,
that's where we got all the screaming and the whatever.
To me,
go ahead.
It's the Monahan, Werenski, Columbus angle.
2 Blue Jackets,
which to me has to be like they were. You started with the tragedy,
yes,
and the Gaudreau, and then you had they were the darlings for 60 games.
Yep.
And so you have this season and this feel-good story on such a tragedy, right? Feel-good in just how... And the Gaudreau jersey everywhere. Like, it was this at Four Nations.
At World Championships.
They brought him out.
Yeah.
And so, to me, I'm kind of interested in... As 2 guys who probably wouldn't bring a
This is it. There's only 2 Blue Jackets because of the Gaudreau story,
Correct.
I would think. Yeah.
But I am interested in that angle, right? In terms of of what that looks like, because Monahan signed there to play
Yes.
this season with him.
Yes.
And you had Werenski, who had this resurgence after maybe 3 or 4 down seasons through injury and whatever else that guy had.
A Norris finalist.
This is it. And so to me, I am interested in, that's one of the more intriguing threads for me.
We've seen Crosby before in the Road to the Winter Classic series. I don't know what to make of that, man, because honestly, at this point in his career, he's always been kind of tight to the vest. I guess, in theory, it could be interesting to see the curtain pulled back on him a little bit, but it's entirely up to him in terms of how much he's going to give you, right? Like, I guess the one thing we can take away from it is that he'll be mic'd up, so what happens on the ice happens on the ice. He'll be less conscious of being on camera or whatever. I like that he's in it, and I think part of that is obviously the Four Nations part of it, but I'm not sure how much Sid's going to give you here.
See, to me, the thing with it, you're going to pair Fleury and Sid together. If you sort of stay true to last year's, you're going to put Fleury and Crosby in the same episode.
Probably, yeah.
And you're going to have that, intertwined, and finishes with them both going to Worlds. Like, I don't know how far we go with this story, but with Crosby, you do have the cratering of that franchise and him signing the extension and with the season the way it went and the Four Nations. Like, there are interesting stories, and you get to see, at least at some point, what this iconic player looks like with things not going on the ice as his career comes to a close-ish. Maybe it's 3 years. I don't know. But he's certainly well on the back nine.
Yep.
And Fleury finishing. So to me, I think that will be, Crosby is never, as is McDavid. Neither one of them are going to be like a Tkachuk.
But how many, we got way more out of the McDavid than I thought we would last year, right? And it all came from that one scene.
Yes.
But we don't see that side of that guy if it's not for a series like this. That was interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if I need to see a pile more of that.
Yeah.
But I do understand what you're saying. You're not going to get that from Crosby because the season doesn't present
that's true. We've been eliminated in game 39 or
so
whatever.
But I am interested. I'm always interested in Sid, and to me Sid is such a because he just comes across as a good guy.
Yeah.
Right? And so I've liked him always. He's been polarizing for a lot of people. Although a lot of people coming around, like Habs fans saying we always love Sidney Crosby, and you're like, bullshit.
Yeah, you're changing that story now.
That is just a late in his career Canadian icon.
Yeah.
And now you're like, we always loved you, Sidney. You're like, no, you didn't. As most Ottawa fans also did not.
No. Anyone who had to face him in the playoffs early on.
5 times.
Yeah, okay, there you go. I want to get to the Tkachuks of it all, because this time, like, Brady had already been announced weeks ago now, maybe months ago, as being a part of this. We then, this week, hear that both Matthew and William Nylander are coming back. I don't know about the idea of repeats. We can talk about that if you want. I'm curious, do you give a shit what is happening with Brendan Shanahan? Like, we're getting a league executive this time who is very good at speaking corporate speak. I think he is a guy who would be conscious always that a camera is on. At the time this would have been shot, I am sure he's hoping, if not presuming, but hoping to be back in his role with Bell and Rogers above him.
Yeah.
I don't expect that guy's going to give you anything.
Well, and it will be interesting to see how far out this goes.
Yeah.
And
to me, he's probably tied into the Willie story.
That was going to be my next question.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I don't know who he gets paired with.
Right.
I'd rather see Kyle Dubas and Nylander tied together in an episode, right? Because as long as I'm the GM here, he'll never be traded. But
he's still here, and
you're
Dubas
gone.
isn't.
Yes, exactly. It's sort of he was an odd thing as I was reading through the 14 names, and you're like, weird.
Yeah,
But to see how the season goes, and obviously without a contract extension, playing out the string, he knows all that, and so it will be interesting to see how that's shot through the lens of this is a make or break season for Shane.
To me, like, as a guy who wants as much Leafs content as I can get,
that's not where you want it.
I just don't think he's going to give you anything. I don't think he's going to say anything. I think maybe there's a shot or two over his shoulder from an executive box when things are going bad, where he's reacting naturally as you're getting scored on or something.
Like Cam Neely kind of stuff?
But yeah, but like I don't expect him to say anything to a camera that
Provocative.
not really. I think he's a fairly bland kind of guy. Learned under the Lamoriello.
Could we swap out Shanahan for Mark Savard?
Jumping up and down and celebrating, then getting yelled at by Craig
exactly.
Berube.
Well, and then Berube continually give him the stink eye after every Leaf goal. He'd be like looking down the bench. Got my eye on you, man. I'm gonna go down there.
Willie and Matthew coming back. Like I remember last year, like we thought Matthew was interesting, but we already knew he was going to be going in. I remember you saying, I like Willie a little more.
I did.
Having watched,
I did come away with that.
We're in season 2. Is it too soon for repeats?
It is too soon, and because it's too soon for repeats. Period.
Yeah.
But you had Matthew Tkachuk featured in multiple episodes last year too, right?
Yeah. Well, he wound into a lot of stories, right? The Swayman story. They're going to play Florida later,
and so he had his own, and then the final one was essentially again McDavid and
that's right, and the final
Tkachuk.
as well. That's right.
So you just had multiple. So to me, to have Matthew Tkachuk come back, and now maybe he is going to be more in a support role to Brady as Brady was to him last year.
Sure. And we're also, they've said the Four Nations is going to be a big part of this season. Obviously, Matthew going into that, he came out of it beat up and hurt, but was a
huge.
They were marketing the thing on him, yes.
And the two brothers and all that.
Yes.
And so it was, for Brady, it was quite a season, right? He has his child, that's a big thing.
Yep.
You had the build of the season through the Four Nations and the team making the playoffs. Like there's all kinds of the booming of the American anthems.
Yeah, that's right.
And how, Brady was a focal point of that here, right? With a heavy American roster.
Yep.
And the sort of the anthems being that sort of flashpoint. And so there's lots of storylines. I just hope that it's not too Matthew-centric. Not because I need more Brady, but because it is just 1 year after
we just saw him.
We were so heavy on Matthew the first time around, and he's the same. Like there's not like there's a huge difference.
Well, so I do want to talk to you about the Brady of it all, because it wasn't just him, but he had been announced, like I said, a couple months ago as being
back to the beginning of the season. Actually.
Yeah, I think that's right. So a central character, and look, it was in many ways, as you said, sort of, I was going to say an up and down season. That's not what I mean, but the Sens get into the playoffs, push hard in those playoffs, but there is a the anthem thing that you referenced. Brady goes in for USA. It doesn't go the way they want, losing to Canada
himself
in overtime.
Yep.
He gets injured. So it's an up and down story there. We did see last year, especially during like the captain's episode, we talked about Nashville, right? Like we did talk this year.
Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, I don't know that I consider Vancouver though a small market, right? Like,
okay, sorry, yes.
Yeah, this year we are going to get Columbus and Brady here in Ottawa. As a Sens fan, obviously people are interested in Brady and being behind the scenes with that guy. He is the face of this franchise.
Correct.
Hearing that he was going to be a part of this, anxious, happy, like this wasn't the year for it. Like, what was your sort of takeaway?
I think this has been a great year for it. Yeah. And really, Amazon is not including him for the Ottawa fans.
No.
Amazon is including him for the American fans.
Right. I think that's right.
Right? When you have the Tkachuks being the face of the Four Nations and all that went down and them appearing on podcasts all over the place.
Although, to be fair, as you suggest, he was announced very early on in the season. We didn't yet know that's how that was going to shake loose.
Right. And so to me, this is the season.
Yeah.
Right? Due to, all the storylines that sort of go in from even a non-team, the team making the playoffs after an 8-year absence is a huge thing.
Right.
But there is the Four Nations, there is the tariffs, there is the anthem, the elbows up, there is all these things, and they're going to talk about his baby, and they're going to, this evolution of this man-child to adult to parent to team makes the playoffs, the maturing of this roster. You're going to see a lot of that. But they do want to thrust him out to that large American So more
It's
than
an
it
Olympic
being
year?
yes, a small market Canadian team.
Similar to Werenski and Monahan and
Right.
in Columbus.
You do have this, and the fact that the buzz just grew in this city, and you know that somewhere in there they're going to play that clip of him after the Rangers win where they were down 3-0 and they came back to win it in overtime. He's the first star, and he comes out and
he's cursing.
and he's like, and he's trying to talk, and then the fans start chanting Brady, and he's like, and he just sort of has that moment where he just sort of like, and he's and he just like, let's go. You know, he's just sort of fired up and he's speaking to the crowd. You know that's going to find its way into this. And the sold out barn is going berserk. Like there's been a lot of good feel good stories in the auto. And then to lose to the Leafs.
Yeah.
Not a feel good story, but it is a fitting
It is a story.
Greek tragedy kind of thing. You know, you make it back and you're like, yes, we get, and then we play this.
Well, we did the comparison, right?
Rivalry, and then you're like, bam, you lose.
We did the comparison between them and the Habs, being able to go up, play Washington. There's no rivalry there.
Right.
There's no weight there. There's no baggage there. And even if everyone in the world had been told the Sens are going to make the playoffs and they're going to lose in 6 games in round 1, everyone goes, yeah, all right, that's a significant step forward.
Felt like 2 rounds, though.
But it's the Leafs. And you're like, fuck, right?
Yeah.
So that part stinks a little. Sens fans have pushed back against me on that, you know, on our social media.
Saying what?
Well, mainly that we did what Montreal did. We took the step forward. We made the playoffs. The Leafs part doesn't weigh into it. And I think for some people that's probably real, but there is a little...
I disagree.
There is a little baggage to it, just a little.
So that's got to be a new fan or newer. Like to me, it's a huge deal that you're going to play Toronto because it comes with, we get to continue the narrative that Toronto can't get it done.
Yep.
And then we're going to roll in after 8 years and we're going to knock you out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Suck it, Leafs. But the risk that comes with that is we're going to be the team that the Leafs get over on.
Sure.
And lo and behold, that's a huge storyline. Whereas the Habs,
and yet that story is so much, to me, even still less powerful than it was if Toronto hadn't already beaten Tampa once. Like if the Toronto had never been out of the first, and Ottawa shows up and like, thank you, right?
Yep.
Like it. But
the Habs, Washington, which was interesting with the.
But there's no emotional baggage.
It was a long, dry popcorn fart.
Yes, it was.
That's what it was. At the end of the day, you're just like 5 games, and you had what's his face running around.
Tom Wilson.
Thank you. It just and driving the Habs crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just, to me, there was way more juice in the Ottawa-Toronto series.
I think that's right. Looking at the Brady of it all in this.
The Brady of it all.
Do you think... I kind of think they're going to shy away because this is a league endeavor. We're not going to hear about the elbows up thing. We're not going to hear about the American captain of a Canadian franchise.
Oh, you will.
I don't know, man.
The elbows up, not so much, but I think you will see. You can't avoid
I hope
that
so,
storyline.
because it's real. And especially you can weave that thread, obviously, through the 4 nations, and you should. Like, that was a big part of
course,
the crowds in Montreal and the way that all played out.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, the league wanting to sand, even still, like, we'll let you hear some F-bombs and some locker room stuff. We're not going to play politics. I don't know that you're going to hear as much of that as we should.
Yep.
Just a guess. Just a guess.
How well it's spotlighted versus downplayed. Yeah. But you can't. That is a storyline of the season.
It was huge this year, man.
And if you do
huge.
Yeah.
As I go Johnny High voice on him.
You will. Fans know. And if you downplay or ignore it entirely,
I think that's what's going to happen.
That turns people off.
Ignored completely, I think.
Because you have then gone and said, nah, that's not the story we want to tell. And you're like, but that's the story.
But what can we find a time where Brady yelled at Stützle or another Willie, stop fucking crying, bro? Like things to...
It's not junior hockey, bro. Stop crying.
I think if they can find enough of that and wave off the nationalist side of it all, I think the league will try. I don't think they want any part of that.
But in a 4 nations year.
Yeah, that's
and a tariff thing, right?
Yeah.
You can't, it's right there. It's a ready-made story.
Yeah.
If you ignore it, I won't watch season 3.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
It's toothless, but I'm doing it.
That's right. I got to keep my Amazon Prime anyway.
I'm using somebody
need my
else's.
2-headed dildo get delivered overnight. Got to happen, man. We'll wrap that up there because it's clearly time on that. We got to go.
Wow.
Yeah. Nope. Shut up. We're going. Matt, shut up.
Two-headed.
I don't want to. I was going to elaborate. I'm not going to.
I don't want to watch the other end. Flip it around. Have a go at it.
Thank you for having to go with this. I apologize. Sorta.
Whoa. Hey now.
Yeah. This has been, another
Fun.
regrettable episode of the Talking Audio Podcast. Don't forget, right now, over at the Need a Beer Company, beautiful Bytown, Black IPA, 10%. It'll help you through an episode like this. Helped me through it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Give them a follow on social media at Need a Beer Co. Give us a follow at Tall Can Audio, and we will see you whenever we see you next time. Next time, I think.
Soonish.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
The hell is that?
Number one bullshit. Oh, number one bullshit.
Why are you so pissy?